Okay, folks. That video I did have, I appreciate y'all watching that and giving your take. That was boring as fuck. I listened to it earlier. I was like, dang, gum, that was boring. Okay. I got a little bit more energy now. I took a walk. I went to Olive Garden. Everything else, now that it's cooler a bit, I feel a little bit more awake. So I'll be a little bit more energetic on this one. So I saw a bit of Vaush. I didn't watch every single minute because, frankly, it's just boring as fuck. He spent like an hour going over some J.K. Rowling manifesto. It's just fucking stupid. Anyway, what he did say, what I just heard from good old Peter Coffin, optics. Remember all that stuff with the alt-right back in 2016? And we had the whole optics argument, the whole we need to be worried about how we're looking, this and that. Now the left has come back around. It's taken 4 years, but now they've come around to the idea of optics. And it's hilarious to think about. When I hear people like Vaush basically say that the people of Chaz should basically martyr themselves. He says, yeah, it would probably be better if the police and the military killed them off. As I said, though, is that where the fuck are they going to stage at? Where are they going to be staging at? Because they're not allowed on Seattle University property. They're not allowed on Seattle School District property, or any of the properties, plural. Where the fuck are they going to stage at? Now, I mean, if I had a better map, I'd be like, okay, well, where the fuck are they going to... But, that's the whole thing. I think that they're doing the smart thing and letting it dissipate and burn itself out. I can't speak for the one in North Carolina and probably the others that will be sprouting up, because there will be. I mean, it's just bound to happen. But I think that once again, we have this fucking optics argument. Optics are for the revolution. It's just and I have heard this a little bit. I guess Jason Unruh did a video talking about how, why are the cops beating up, journalists and shooting at journalists? And yeah, I agree that's a bad thing. Obviously, duh, no shit. But it's like, who gives a fuck, frankly? Screw your optics. I mean, you can make optics into what you want, As long as you control the narrative, who gives a shit, The thing is that Wignats are never going to have the optics. They are always going to be shamed. Wignats will always be shamed. They will never be seen as legitimate. I'm sorry. I think that's the absolute truth. Let's just wake up to that fact and reality. It'd be nice to say that Wignats, oh yeah, we're going to have a white ethno-state, bro. No. Nobody is going to allow that. Nobody is going to allow that. Just simple as they are not going to allow it. So the thing is, once again, I'm a bit stubborn. I will say this in my defense. I am stubborn and I do realize it. But I go back to the thing is that I would rather, fuck it. I'd rather just join the gun runners. I'd rather join the folks that are just making money off people's misery, I'll be frank with you. You can call me a liberal, you can call me a asshole, call me whatever, and I'll just say, oh, okay. I mean, do whatever you got to do, go ahead. But I've pretty much made my choice. I'm not going to join any anarchist group. I'm not going to join any Marxist-Leninist group, because guess what? Chances are that they aren't going to be down in Texas. All right, outside of Austin and Houston, and maybe some other big cities, they're not coming where the fuck I'm at. They aren't going to be coming where I'm at anytime soon. So you know what? Kiss my ass, frankly. I know you don't want to, but yeah. I don't give a fuck, frankly. I don't. I'm at the point now where I'm just like, all right. I'd rather just post funny shit on Twitter and just, give my bullshit thoughts and my ramblings and I can't do the meme, but yeah, and just kind of, just just do that. on these live stream type of things than freaking waste my time joining some BS group that'll kick me to the curb. You know what I'm saying? Why the hell would I waste my time with that? Why? It doesn't make any sense. You know? And plus, if you're older and fatter like I am, I know I'm fat. You know, it's okay. I don't say that as cold. I don't say that, oh, feel sorry for me. No, I made my choices. I owe up to them. Anyway, they don't want some old honky who's kind of fat walking around being a spurg. They don't need folks like that. They don't need folks like that. They don't want folks like that, you know? At this point, I'd just be like, who cares, bro? You know, just let it happen. You know, if it's gonna break apart, it's gonna break apart. Just decide, you know, do what you can. If you get to know these folks or whatever, and just see how the landscape is, you know, and if and I would dare I say when this country does break apart, make your choice on who's gonna be better for you. You know, that's my attitude. You know, I don't live in LARP land where thinking that, oh, the left is going to take over the U.S. or, you know, the U.S. is going to turn into fascism. You know, I don't believe that. I believe that this country will eventually break apart. And I think that, like I say, some states are going to hold off. You know, I don't know. There's a lot of people in the wing, so to speak, that could take over, but who cares at this point? Who gives a shit? If it's going to be, I mean, what sort of fascism do you think is going to take over? It's just, I don't know. I don't believe it. I really don't, because, I mean, you've seen the performance of white folks now, you know, and you see these white folks just bending down, and they're just getting on their knees, and, you know, I'm sorry for my racism, this and that, all. And I know that's urbanite scumbags and everything else. I get that. But it's like, if that's any sort of representation, we're fucked. It's just that simple. We as a country, not just we as honkies. I'm just going to say that we as honkies and crackers, I don't give a fuck, you know, necessarily at this point. It's like, as long as I get fed and as long as I'm entertained, either by reading books or by whatever, I don't care. And I know people are going to be like, that's selfish and that's nihilistic or whatever whatever the case may be. And I'll say, yeah, to a point. I'm not going to get myself killed, you know. I'm not going to, you know, martyr myself for some greater revolution that's, you know, that's eventually going to sell itself out. No, fuck that. I'll just tell you right now, fuck that. I'm not going to. You know, you can call me a coward all day and say, oh, you're a pussy. Oh, you should go out there and die for the future of America. No, fuck that. That's part of the reason why I left the Army. I'll tell you know what? I'll just reveal it to the 20 people that are going to see this probably. Or listen to this. You know, when I was going to leave college and leave the Rotten Old Tomato cans, that's ROTC, Reserve Officer Training Corps, they were going to send me to Iraq. And you know what? I'll reveal myself here and just say it, is that I cried. I did. I did cry. And I was scared. And luckily, at that time, they gave me an honorable discharge, and I was on my way. You know, there was no BS about it. I think I scared those other two people away. That's all right. That's okay. That's all right. Oh, anyway, my dopamine. But anyway, I was just gonna say is that I was just scared to death to be sent to Iraq. I was scared to death. I don't care. I was crying, this and that. I remember that the secretary at that time, I'm not going to reveal her name, even though she's probably retired by this point. She felt so bad that she drove me back to the dorms because I was that upset. And you can say, oh, white privilege, or you can say, oh, you pussy, this and that. Go ahead. I've said it all to myself before, so I don't give a fuck. You know, I don't advocate for destruction or anything else. I just see that's the way it's going to go. And to me, you got to protect yourself first. I mean, that's my attitude. And you can disagree and you can say you're full, I'm full of it, or, this and that. And, you can go ahead and LARP online. I don't care. I mean, if you want to LARP into the comments, go right ahead. Go ahead. I mean, I'm not going to hold you back. What I will say is that, people got to protect themselves. So this idea of optics, it's like, even after reading Bernays, and I'll probably read some more Bernays, I'm sure that optics are important. It's about the way that you can present it. But the thing is that you have to remember that a lot of the time with the left and the right is that they purposefully keep stuff out from their own audiences. They keep stuff from their own core audience. You have to think about it in that way. It's like, I remember I was waiting for Vosh to show the video showing Rez, confronting the gentleman who was tagging that wall. And, they were like, I don't give a fuck, this and that. He was just getting, he was getting uppity and everything else. It's like, he was going to get smacked up. Everyone knew he was going to get smacked up. But it's like, I was waiting. And, of course, Vosh didn't show the video. He didn't show the pictures on the baseball diamond, this and that. He just LARPed. And instead what he did is that he showed video of, far right fighting with the cops in the United Kingdom. That's a form of propaganda. Good, bad, right, or wrong. He also said, of course, is that we're winning. And, of course, he showed his little graph and his public opinion. And, of course, I mean, it just, if you're paying attention to him, it's ridiculous because he's like, I don't give a fuck about public opinion polls. And then what does he do? He shows a public opinion poll about BLM. But that's the way it is that, he's trying to convince people. He's trying to bring people in. So I can't be mad at it. Ultimately, I'm going to go back to what Keith Woods said, is that you can't be mad at the left. They're going to do what they're going to do. We have to be mad at the conservatives, the so-called people that claim to be on our side. Or they claim to be on, claim to be holding up traditional values. These folks don't care. These are the biggest cowards that are out there. And they, of course, have, tried to twist things in their own way. These are nothing but cowards. That's all that can be said for them. People like Max Boot. I haven't read one of his articles, but I've heard enough crap about him. Or people like, oh my goodness. I can't think of their names, but I really don't care at the end of the day. Even people like Rush Limbaugh, who are just like, oh, well, there aren't that many, white supremacists out there. This, of course, he's dying anyway, so who cares? But, it goes to show optics can be made into whatever you want it to be. As long as you can keep your core audience right there, then who cares? That's the whole idea of a vanguard, isn't it? According to Marxist-Leninist thought. And even to a point, Marxist-Leninist Maoist thought. That's why you get the whole idea of the vanguard party. Is that as long as you have this group of folks that are ideologically pure. Just want to say that just to make sure, not some Aryan type thing, but ideologically pure, that are committed to the ideas of Marx and Lenin, then they can lead the way. And of course, I've seen this, is that ultimately, even I will admit, and I will bow my head in honesty and just say, these protests were random. It started in Minneapolis, and it became much like the coronavirus. It spread from there. So we saw, and apparently it went all over the world to some degree, the United Kingdom and all that business. And they were all against, the white patriarchy and all this type of thing. The thing is that, I'm basically just making an apology and trying to understand the actual situation that we are in. Is that, the Confederacy is going to be banned. Any talk of the Confederacy will be banned, I'm sure. Just as, the stars and bars can't be used at NASCAR anymore. You can't talk about Robert E. Lee unless you're going to completely say that he was the worst scumbag ever. I'm surprised that I think it's Washington and Lee University. I believe that that's named after Robert E. Lee. So they should probably, I'm surprised they haven't changed their name yet. I even saw, of course, that this is spread to Texas, and they're talking about, I think it was UT, I want to say. And they were saying that UT was racist and they didn't recognize a lot of different things. And I thought to myself, I was like, about talking about black folks in particular and the black African American Congress or African American Union. I can't think of anyway. But I said to myself, aren't there historically black colleges and universities, these HBCUs that are all around the country that you want to go to? I thought that. And I said, but they're wasting their time talking about, it makes me wonder, Anyway, I mean, it's just ridiculous at this point. It is. It's absolutely ridiculous. But that is the world that we're living in, where we will simultaneously be so against, racism and everything else, and of course LARPing about it and pretending that we're actually going to do something about it, and throwing and destroying monuments, taking down. I think they're even taking a Confederate statue down in Dallas. So, it's just one of those things. I mean, I'm not going to be a wignut and be like, oh, I'm so attached to this history. No one cared about those statues until someone made it an issue. I'm just going to be honest. At least that's my view. Nobody cared it's the whole thing. It's the same type of thing. I think, which was it, South Carolina, that had the stars and bars next to their old flag, and they made such a fuss about that. Oh my gosh. I mean, people were pissing their pants, and then they finally changed it. I think I will have to believe, what others have said, is that, the left, gets their way because people have given in. But I think, where is the line going to be? That's really what it comes down to, doesn't it? Where does the line go? Are we just going to continue to let this happen? Or are we just going to continue to, I think people are going to use Chaz as an example of just how crap things are. So hopefully that'll be good. Hopefully it will, I think that's all I really have to say. I think, ultimately is, this idea of optics. I think that, optics are important, but I think it's also important to keep that core group of people around you and keep them happy, in a social media sense, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Twitter, whether it's whatever. You're playing ultimately to your base first, and then as a bonus, you can bring other people in. That's how I see it. But I mean, it's kind of the same type of thing. I mean, I think back to, once again, I'll mention his name. I mean, I've given him way too much credit, but people like Vosh, he argues with his chat every day. When he was talking about, of course, he said, well, I think the best thing for Chaz is, that the cops go in and shoot these folks, because they'll be seen as martyrs. And everyone was typing out, yikes, bruh, and everything else. Because it's like, you're going to sacrifice those people just so you can, so it'll make things better. What is it going to be like a call? Remember the Alamo? Remember Chaz? Is that going to be the whole thing? Remember Chaz? No. I mean, they probably will. I bet that they'll have some Antifa type dude who's just like, remember Chaz, bro? We can do better this time. I don't know, man. It just makes me laugh. But what to really say about it? I mean, this summer is just going to drag out. It's just going to continue to get worse. Confederate statues are going to go, and pretty soon it's just going to be more shit just coming down the pike. And like I say, for honkies like me, we're just going to have to continue to Ultimately, all you can do, unless you want to be, a pariah or you want to be in jail, is just to play along and at least give lip service to those ideas. For now, that's all you can do is just give lip service to it and just be like, well, yeah, of course that was a good thing, yeah, and just play along, or you just say nothing. Now, of course, people say, oh, how dare people didn't talk enough about George Floyd and his death. Oh, it's just I don't know. You'll never win with those type of things. At this point, we will see where, you have to think about this. Me being a marketer, you're going to be worried about how you're going to influence people and how are you going to bring these folks in and how dedicated are people going to be. The younger they are, the better. Let me put that in there when I say that, because I know I lost that person when I said that. But the thing is that bringing people in, that sounded real cringe, didn't it, the way I said that? And that one person probably tuned out right after that. And they're just like, now he's probably going to be reporting me. I was like, oh, Lord have mercy. But anyway, what I would say to that is that bringing people in is that, you're going to have to bring people in, and as young as you can get them, to bring them in and keep them loyal to you. That's the whole thing. And, I'm sorry if I scared that person away. They're probably just like, bruh, why did you say the younger the better? That's cringe. I'm just saying that because, when you get think about all the peasant kids in the Soviet, or what was in the Russian Empire, and, how loyal they stayed, even to the very bitter end in 1991, and then the coup in 1993. But it's like, how loyal were these guys? Some of these were marshals of the Soviet Union or generals, this and that, and they stayed and wanted to defend the Soviet Union because they remember the poverty and everything else. So they stayed loyal to that system. Same thing with people that are loyal to Mao. They'll smack the hell out of people because they're like, well, Mao was the one that came in and helped us. Nobody else did. That's the same thing with people, the old folks that will defend Hitler. They'll say, nobody else came around and did anything. Hitler did. In their eyes, that's how they see it. Now, nowadays, I don't know how you could really say that about anarchists. Like, do you think that they'll be like, oh, well, no one else cared about us, but these anarchists stepped in? I don't know about that. It's possible, but I don't think it's very likely, at least in my opinion anyway. I really don't see that. It's possible. Anything's possible. But yeah, a lot of potential stuff is going to happen, And I think, people can, but I still do hold the view while finishing this up, is that this idea that people think that they can bully Biden into, becoming more progressive and allowing things like, more free college or providing, better health care and this and that type of thing. I really don't give a shit. That's called campaign promises. That's all that's called. That's called campaign promises. I'm going to say something. I'm going to use this lewd metaphor, and then I'm going to end it. But the thing is that I would say campaign promises are like bar promises. Is that you can go in there and you'll promise a woman everything under the sun. You'll say, I'll be the best man you've ever met, baby. I'll pay your rent. I'll do anything for you. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Just to get into her pants. You take her home, or, you go to her place. Bing, bang, boots from the Bronx to Bolivia, as they say. And next morning, if she doesn't kick you out, then she's like, oh, yeah, you want to pay my rent? Shit. I'm not going to pay your rent, bitch. The fuck you talking about? And you walk out the fucking door. It's the same thing with campaign promises. It's like, yeah, vote for me and I'll give you free healthcare. I'll do all these type of things for you. Oh, yeah. We'll get people out of the Middle East, and we'll send German, We'll get our troops out of Germany and everything else like that. Oh yeah. Once they get elected, shit, you think I'm actually gonna help you? Ha ha ha. Hey, how you doing there? Yeah. How you doing there, Mr. Lobbyist? Or how you doing there? I'm just gonna say it. Hey, how you doing there, Mr. Soros? Hey, you want, you're gonna give me this nice check so I can do that? Oh, okay. Or one of my advisor, one of their advisors be like, that's a nice check. That's a lot of zeros there. You mean you're gonna give me this if I just do this, this, and this? Oh, okay. Well, sure, no problem. Thank you. Can you deposit that into my secret Swiss bank account so so my wife doesn't know, or whatever the case may be? To me, that's what campaign promises are. So I don't really give a flying fuck. I really don't see. We fall for this shit. Americans fall for this dumbass fucking thing every year, every 4 years, or every time congressional or gubernatorial race comes up. We always fall for this fucking false shit where it's just like, oh, well, they're actually going to do something for us this time. This time we're not going to get fucked over. Anywho, I think I'll keep it there because that was kind of long and boring, and I saw some people. I don't know if I scared people off when I said cringe things, and that's fine. That's fine if I did. Y'all are probably doing other things. Y'all are probably like playing video games or something. So anyway, that's just cold. I'm sorry. That's just me sounding needy. That's just cringe. Anyway, I think I'll keep it there. That was I think I've pretty much said my piece. So anyway, have a good night, folks. See you later.